Okay, great. I think we're pretty much live right now. So welcome everybody to this brand new experience here within BanklessDAO. We had demos for a very long time within DAO relationships. Um, the demos work streams are just kind of a place where people can showcase the products they're working on. Different builder teams. We like to see what's available in DeFi, decentralized art, NFT. Um, Marketplaces, anything that you can think of that would have a Web3 integration within your project. We want to see it and we want to share it with the world. So we ran this sort of official Fight Club demos work stream for about 6 months. And now we've decided to pivot into a metaverse. So we're working with Third Academy. We're currently going live on Twitter Spaces. We were planning to go live on Fight Club YouTube, and we're also live within the DAO Relationships server, the DAO Relationships Discord server. So you can catch us live in any one of those locations. We're also going to be sharing links to the metaverse so you can click on it yourself and you can join us within the metaverse. So I'm going to drop a link just any minute now within the Twitter space. And hopefully Anointing Thompson has already shared it within the Discord, and it'll also be available on the video on Fight Club so you can view this in the future as well and onboard into the metaverse. So now that we have all that out of the way, super excited to be here with today's very first demo within the metaverse for BanklessDAO and Fight Club and DAO Relationships. And our guest is from Cortex Network. We have the co-founder and CEO with us, Leonard Kish. And what he's going to do is walk us through the project. He's now projecting to the screen we've got here. If you're within the metaverse, you can walk around and get closer. You can even expand the screen if you just click on the little arrows up in the corner above the call out box in the screen, so you can view the demo close up full screen if you like, or you can just walk around and explore this metaverse and listen in while you do. Quick little intro to Cortex. The mission statement is creating living digital histories for everything that matters. And the elevator pitch is Cortex is a network that makes building on Web3, the user-owned web, simple for everyday users and non-crypto developers, while also providing low-cost scalability for enterprise use cases around data provenance. Cortex is not a separate chain, but a novel crypto architecture for low-cost provability. So that's a lot of information right there. And luckily we have Leonard here to break it down. Leo, nice to meet you. Feel free to give yourself a quick little intro and then dive right into it.
Yeah, thanks so much. Thanks to BanklessDAO and Fight Club and Third Academy and auspicious day here on the 15th anniversary of the Satoshi white paper, as well as Halloween. So I guess on some level, it makes sense to be in a metaverse for the first time. So thanks for having me. So yeah, I'm one of the co-founders of Cortex Network. My background is actually started in neuroscience. That's part of the reason it's called Cortex. But yeah, the basic idea is that we're building a simple infrastructure that you can attach a deep information layer to NFTs. And we are live in a couple of projects with different clients that I'll walk through. But at the basic idea is that Cortex seeks to build a long-lasting, provable history of the things that matter. You can think of it like kind of like a Carfax or anything. It could be a jacket, it could be a building, it could be, an art NFT, it could be anything that you own, but you want to start attaching meaningful information to it in a provable historical way. We do this through NFT domains and subdomains, largely through Butterfly Protocol, and we are largely integrated with these domains with ENS, and I'll show a little bit of that. And in fact, most of what you'll see today is either hosted on the Cortex network, like I think you can see my bar here. This is an NFT that I own, hypergraphy.pepe. There's a bridge here for pepe.fans to take it to the normal web so you can view it in Chrome. You can actually find this presentation here. So eventually we believe that everything of value is going to have an NFT that represents it. And of course, living histories or an access to information that's provable about all these things. It could be an MRI machine, it could be, again, a car. these provable histories, having those things at scale really is going to increase the efficiency of economics. Some of you may have heard of like I think won the Nobel Prize, the lemon problem, where lopsided information leads to inefficient markets. We really believe that the efficiencies that using Web3 represents, both for enterprises as well as individual users, is big main part of what we're doing, and some of the big benefits. But of course, Web3 today has some major challenges around cost, scalability, and complexity. It's still very difficult for individual users, say, to take an ENS name and start publishing to it. Those things are getting better. There's quite a few solutions out there now, building, kind of the next Squarespace and things. And we have some aspects of that. But I think what differentiates us is that we're providing a much deeper information layer that can be used not just for websites, even though that's what I'm going to be showing here today, but for social applications. There's a lot of social components built into this, because you can actually, every kind of piece of information, you can speak about it as your NFT domain or subdomain, and any kind of information can speak about any other kind of information. I'm quickly just going to go through the basic architecture. Most of what we do is using Butterfly Protocol, but and we are chain independent. So we have NFT domains now on Polygon, on Ethereum. We're being integrated with the QU.ai, the Quai network, and we're looking at a few other chains that should be launched within the next year. Because these domains can, through these different kinds of contracts, can exist on pretty much any chain. Of course, EVM compatible's a little easier, but we've done integrations with non-EVM chains as well. So the first step is issuing these NFT domains. An NFT domain then serves as a kind of a seed to an HD wallet. And what that means, and I'll show some examples of this, and might not make much sense now, but as a seed to this HD wallet, hierarchical deterministic wallet, what it does is create a set of human readable keys, kind of like you can think of it as a file structure that's key based with human readable names. So just like the old web, when you had, HTTP and a .com as the domain name, we're creating a key-based file store where the keys that are human readable, in essence, act as lookups to any kind of information on the back end. And we have some other novel crypto architecture that then allows for very fast and sequential lookups to wherever that content is used. So you can think of it like the name, the key, certifies that the content has been updated. HTTP data captures that state, and HD index puts it in a way that's for those crypto people, it's a mix of a sparse Merkle tree with a binary search tree. So it allows for very fast sequential lookups and gives you essentially a root hash that proves when the information was signed and when it was updated. The sequential updates are important because we want to have a full living history of those NFT domains. And of course, we all want things that are fast and responsive. So the NFT domains act as identities. We have domains that you can get at ape.cloud, pepe.fans, and one that we're going to be launching, or actually we've done a little bit of a soft launch, which is pretty historic really for NFTs and ENS domains. .hiphop is a domain that you can go out to any registrar, GoDaddy or Namecheap or whatever you prefer for registering domains. Go out and get one of these .hiphop names, and then you'll be able to claim the NFT domain for it as well. And for that, you can go to getweb3.hiphop, and once you have the NFT, or once you have the normal domain on Web2, you can go to getweb3.hiphop, and claim that domain there. And all of these then are going to be usable through Cortex Network. And I'll show a little bit about Cortex Network here.
So just a question there. Is ICANN involved in this process at all, or how
We
is it?
have been keeping ICANN abreast through .hip hop with everything we're doing and the approach that we're taking.
Mhm.
I can't speak for .hip hop because we're more the kind of the technology provider, but I can say that they've been in contact with ICANN all along the way, and I probably shouldn't say too much more about that, but I think my personal statement that I'll just put it in my own personal context. I think uh, this is something, the approach that we've taken is one that's uh, we've made as a palatable, I think, to ICANN as we possibly can. So we have our fingers crossed that this will be adopted at a wider level. I'll put it that way.
Okay, so yeah, because I was dealing with something recently called Domain DAO, and they were trying to get .DAO domains for people through ICANN and have own the official uh, top level domain name.
Uh huh.
So as far as these are concerned, these are like subdomains of ENS, correct?
Well, in this case, these are not .eth domains. The
Right. Okay.
.hip hop. So when you go and get your .hip hop name, you will actually be able to use. I would be able to use leo.hiphop as my ENS because ENS has turned over that domain to the ownership of that to .hip hop. If you own as I understand it, if you own the Web2 ICANN domain, then you can claim the ENS domain for it, but you can't otherwise.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Yeah. Well, I can imagine it gets very complicated dealing with them and all the different regulations. So sweet. Yeah. Nice to see you
Yeah,
guys pushing the boundaries there.
yeah, it is. And there's a conference coming up in Vegas, Web3 domainers in early December. We'll be doing more of an official launch, but this is accessible today. If you go out and do it, let us know and let us know if you have any feedback. But
Okay.
very soon after you use that, then you'll be able to go to Cortex Press. It's cortex.press, which is here. If you have domains, then they'll show up kind of like this. Obviously, I have quite a few. And I'll show one of our don't mess with Pepe. So here's the don't mess with Pepe one. We have a few different ways that you can update information related to this domain. You can use this kind of markdown interface. It's more what you see is what you get. I can just enter information there and I can publish, or I can use what we call advanced mode, where if you already have a website, you can go out to Pinata or IPFS desktop or whatever you want to use for hashes and putting it on IPFS. Once you do that, you can go in here, just put the hash for the entire website as I've done previously. So here's the missile game. I go back to here. I've already put in the hash there. I could do it, but you'll see that then you get, rather than kind of the ugly URLs, you get kind of a simpler URL, which don't mess with Pepe. And this is just the README that it defaults to for put a full website into IPFS. But you can actually, play pretty robust game through that. And the updates are pretty near instantaneous when you do a publish here. It's probably within a couple of seconds that you'll see the change. Of course, that's depending on IPFS. I'm going to go show a little bit through one of our clients that's also building on Cortex, which is buildx.io. BuildX seeks to create a Carfax for buildings. So One of the biggest issues with buildings and building maintenance is that records get lost. Nobody can, and with a lot of maintenance records, there's very severe consequences, of course, if things get lost or if you don't have certifications that, sprinklers or that HVAC systems have been well maintained and signed off on. So the goal with BuildX is to create a universal platform where all this building information can be captured. We're actually in 7 different um, pilot projects right now, including one of the largest construction firms, regional construction firms in the Midwest. You can see that. I'll show this NFT in a minute, but the name of the group is McCown Gordon. So this is their NFT for their main headquarters. I'm going to show very briefly about the basic architecture for how these domains will work, because I think the nesting of NFTs is also pretty unique and exciting, really. So if Bob is the property owner, so Bob owns this property, say 123 Main Street, in zip code 50208 in the USA. That's identified as a location within BuildX. Once that NFT and that owner are combined, then that creates a new key. And that new key can then own, say, the building and keep on going down. The building can then own or control assets within the building, like MRI machines. And you can start checking the location and the maintenance history of MRI machines. And with that, you may have seen there's a few, like we have an MRI machine here that we're adding information to. And I think there's others on the BuildX site. So once you have those, you have this McCown Gordon headquarters building asset, because it is the actually building itself. So it's an asset, but then once you have that, it can start holding other kinds of information and assets. In this case, we've put the McCown Gordon operations and maintenance manual within this framework, along with of their maintenance history, their maintenance schedule, and now we're adding BIM files. And eventually, through a site like this looks very basic now, but very soon it's going to be a fully featured kind of environment where you can actually start navigating through these are like 3D models of the buildings themselves. We've implemented some AI, so you can actually start asking questions of the building. So, who are you? I'm the McCown Gordon HQ. It can ask about the plumbing. You can ask about fire alarms and alarm systems. So the goal here, what we're showing really just a preview of, is that eventually every kind of building and asset out there will have its own personal data cloud that can run its own personal AI to gather insights from itself. The co-founder and I, Josh Robinson, were both in healthcare, actually, and that's where a lot of this comes from. Way back in the late teens, we were both working in healthcare, and use cases abound where, and probably everybody who's listening to this at some point or another has been in a situation where they didn't have their health information, their health records owned by the hospital. So the basic principle is that all information should really be accessible through the thing itself, through whether it's the person and the patient that has the patient record, or the building, or the car. To us, that's the real metaverse. Is a day when all of the information that's available about a thing can be accessed through that thing, of course, with the proper rights. We're working on things now where you can have do analysis on information with ZK proofs without revealing actually what the data is, so that we can keep a lot of this private. And some of the larger use cases that we're working on now through BuildX involve capturing and proving carbon use and carbon capture around buildings. Buildings represent 40% of greenhouse gases, which is really becoming apparent in my house as it turns towards winter. And with that, we have some other projects that we're working on that we'll be launching in early 2024, including fashion. So you can imagine that once you have one of these .hip hop domain names, you could attach the, could be like a Biggie jacket. So, jacket.biggie.hiphop becomes the NFT for the jacket. And we have a project where we'll be attaching rare, never before seen photographs from hip hop history with some famous photographers. Famous artists will be wearing, the jacket on stage, and that'll all become part of the living history of the jacket. And now we're getting more into merchandise and ticketing, where all these things, all these assets can really have full living histories that make them all that much more valuable and that much more uh, uh, trusted, I guess, to
Mhm.
put it succinctly.
So these individual assets, are they all exist as a separate NFT that is linked to the original asset, or is the original asset like a 6551 that has um, like token bound accounts?
We work with, and I think I have it here. All of our NFT domains are linked with charged particles. So in essence, we do have that kind of binding capability. So you can go when you have any one of these NFT domains, you can have wallets associated with the NFT domain itself uh, to for those kinds of use cases.
Mhm.
With like a project that we did at NFT NYC, where we would hand out these little keychains with NFC chips in them through Tagger, that's also working with charged particles. Uh, we're able to essentially put the NFT inside the NFC chip, the Tagger chip, so that only if you had the chip could you claim the NFT, and then you could go back and you may not be the owner of the asset once it's been scanned, but then you as a user could go back and check the maintenance history if you had the rights to it as that information gets written to. I should also mention we've not implemented it yet, but we have BLS signatures implemented on the back end, which is great for a lot of these enterprise use cases where, of course, you might need an team, you might need multi-sig to sign off on that information is valid or to access information as well.
Okay.
And encrypted, and all this information can be encrypted, of course, as well.
Yeah, of course. All right, fantastic. So yeah, I feel like there's more here. There's more to come, right? You haven't finished showing us everything that this can do.
That's the majority of the actual demo. We are hopefully this week we'll actually have those BIM models that are running within the network itself.
Hmm.
Um, but that's not live today.
Okay.
But the
Nice.
important thing I also want to get across is there's no fees for content updates here, because most of this happens off chain, but that's still all the information is provable via the signatures, and we have some other ways that we're implementing so that if you wear a DAP, you can actually verifiably prove that things have happened. For incentive and rewards programs.
Of course. And so speaking of fees, what is your business model?
So the main business model is very much, I don't know if it's a business model, but the idea is to build this as uh, almost like an Ethereum for content or a proof of stake system for content. So, and we'll be launching that in 2024. So essentially, if you are a DApp or you are a website or you're, a social media or you're a fashion group, you would become a publisher on the network. And a publisher is very much like a miner in a proof of stake network where you are validating transactions. You're taking all these root hashes from individual users, you're combining them into a single kind of root hash for the entire network. And how often you publish that root hash for your users is determined by how much you're staking. So if you want to stake every minute for a social media app or something like that, you'd want to stake a lot. If you are, just updating your blog once a week, you'd stake a lot less. But anybody can become a publisher, and we think this fits very well with the basic idea that publishers can choose what content they want to publish, but anybody can become a publisher. As a belief in I think what Elon said, that you can't, there's no way you can force, or it shouldn't be okay to force anyone to publish content that they don't agree with, because then you become liable for that content. So we think that walks that line between Web3 and decentralization, where anybody can become a publisher, but at the same time you have to be responsible for what you publish.
Okay, so from the audience here, does anybody have any questions? Would be good to hear some outside perspectives or any feedback as well.
What can we look forward to seeing from Cortex? Like, are there some things you want to announce or share with us that we may get a sneak peek about?
The biggest thing is the .hip hop domain names, which we'll be announcing more formally at the Domainer conference in December. But those are live, and you'll be able to use your .hip hop name as an ENS name, and you'll be able to publish to the Cortex network as well.
Awesome. It seems like you're at a lot of live events. Are there a bunch of IRL events coming up that we should look out for you at?
The biggest one is the Domainer Expo in Vegas.
Nice.
And then we'll be at ETH Denver next year, and working on some things using NFC tags for that we haven't announced yet.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, NFC tags are so ubiquitous now. I've seen a lot of different wallet projects who offer these sort of single serve cards. You tap it and it creates that wallet for you, and sort of abstracts the wallet creation. I know Mercedes have been using them in their NFT series, so they're actually shipping them out to their high value customers, and they'll actually present them at an event in a box and say, okay, this is your a digital version of your car or whatever it may be, and all they have to do is tap that. You can imagine these are going to be like wealthy individuals who have no idea what an NFT is, maybe speculate on crypto or NFTs in some cases, but in most cases, they just want to make it as easy as possible. Everyone knows how to use a phone. You tap it to the card, and all of a sudden it creates a wallet for you. So yeah, the closer we can get to that in as many use cases as possible, I think is great. Especially like what you said about scanning an NFC to get access. So if you had a maintenance worker who was able to scan an NFC chip upon entry of a building or something like that, that would then give them even time limited access. The next 8 hours, you can walk around the building and scan your device and get in and out to both access areas of the building and update records as well. So yeah, that's one of many use cases.
Yeah, and then of course with AR, people will be able to walk through a building and be able to see, last time that the MRI machine or the HVAC system was maintained.
Mm-hmm.
Because we'll be able to drive the cost so low, if you really wanted to track it, you could even see when a light bulb like statistically might need to be changed. All that kind of information can start to be tracked, so that you really have a living history of everything that you access and have that you can see.
Interesting. And have you
Given that you
considered
have
this
the
for
right.
for airline industry as well? Because I know obviously supply chain tracking, parts tracking, all that sort of thing, and especially maintenance updates. That's a
Yeah,
major one
we
for
are
airlines.
working with, I won't say the name, but we are working with uh, a group that does micro data centers, to start tracking their all the components. Of course, it's important that you know where all the chips have come from and that you have a verifiable history, and that then you can go put on a pair of glasses, say, walk into a data center and be able to see verifiable histories of all the components even that go into a box.
In terms of capturing that life cycle information of a building, what does that look like for use cases going forward in terms of improving performance with provable information?
Well, there's quite a few use cases around carbon use. One of the goals that we're focused on is being able to track and create a universal database of carbon use, and be able to then look at how different buildings drive different efficiencies. There's quite a few innovations around, I'm going to forget the word now, but essentially window coverings, how window coverings are used, and being able to track how the window coverings are used, and even algorithms that go into that, and be able to apply that to how well they're doing in lowering their utility bills, but being able to create, because all this information now is identified with the building. But there are ways that we can also, something akin to homomorphic encryption, be able to start looking at universal data set and universal information in a way that you can start gathering insights about what things are most effective to reduce carbon. So we are working on some projects around that.
Okay, loads of potential here. I really enjoyed learning about this. Does anybody have any other questions before we start to wrap this session up? Sounds good. Yeah, Leonard, this has been really great, hearing about Cortex and what it's enabling and what you guys are working on. I can imagine you're probably in the fundraising stage right now. Have you had much interest? Are you in a
Yeah, we raised a little over $1 million in private sale around the proof of stake network, and we have a little bit left to go to close that out.
Okay, great. So I'm sure people can just get in touch with you directly if they're accredited or are not limited by investing.
Yeah, accredited
great.
non-US.
Yeah, so people can just follow the link to Cortex, which is on Twitter, or which will also appear here at the bottom of the YouTube video after the fact. Leonard, was there anything you wanted to add specifically before?
That last question too, I should mention that we have an API, so there's a lot of ways that we're starting to be able to automatically ingest information into this content architecture. So what I've shown today is mostly things that we're updating, as websites and things, but we're very close to showing where we've got some deep integrations with building maintenance and all the information there.
Okay, cool. And so those API docs, those can be found on the Cortex site, or is that specifically through request?
I'm not sure what's public right now, but through docs.crtx.io, we have a lot of our documentation there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then if it's not there, feel free to reach out.
Nice one. Okay, well, you heard it, builders. Reach out to Cortex and figure out how you can play around with their APIs and maybe use their backbone for your data infrastructure.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to hear from builders. If you're building in Web3 and you're looking for a robust backend, please reach out.
Fantastic. All right. Well, I want to give a shout out to CryptoDad and Skylab for finding you today, Leo, for coming to present. Again, thanks a lot to the Third Academy team for helping put this together. We're going to see a lot more from this metaverse space. Speaking of spaces, just wanted to give a quick shameless plug. Jairus James from Dilationships and myself are starting a new Spaces series tomorrow on the BanklessDAO Twitter. It's called Blockchain Privacy. So we're going to be interviewing a number of different projects over the course of 5 to 6 weeks. Excuse me. Tomorrow we're starting with Secret Network, and you'll be able to learn about what Secret Network is, up your blockchain privacy game, and learn how to become more self-sovereign. So if you're interested in any of that stuff, check out the BanklessDAO Twitter tomorrow around this time. Beyond that, I just wanted to mention to everybody who's been listening today that none of this is financial advice or investment advice. We're just here checking out new tools, figuring out how we can use them and how we can help the world go bankless. With all that said, I'm pretty sure we wrapped it up today. We nailed it with this first metaverse demo. I'm super, super excited and stoked to have you guys on board with us, Stacy and Third Academy team. Thank you so much again.
Thank you, Chris. We're super stoked and look forward to more of these and welcoming more of your community into ours. Thank you.
Fantastic. All right. See you all at the next one. Bye-bye.
See you next time.
Bye.